Now, Ryan Garcia pulls off the biggest upset in boxing, and we're wondering why. For one, we wonder how is it that he's able to do something like this after a bad training camp, or not even a real training camp at that? Self admitting to the fact that he really didn't put enough intensity into his training camp, yet still managed to win. Of course, we all know John Jones, he's very notorious for that. At the same time, the other narrative you can go about that is the guy never missed weight. On top of that, he never lost. And with Ryan Garcia, the reason why this is a big upset was due to the simple fact that we saw him lose to Tank Davis in a way that almost made him look like he quit. But the only difference, objectively speaking, is just the weight clause matter that was involved with Tank Davis as opposed to Devin Haney, which again gives more credit also to Devin Haney, along with giving proper credit to Ryan Garcia. Well, now we're going to talk about why a lot of people are rubbed the wrong way that Ryan Garcia had just won this match. Because for one, you got to understand. So for he's talking about all these other things about Bohemian Grove, the Illuminati, and all these other strange things that, quite frankly, I could understand from a base point of view, but also understand that it's really a controversial topic that a lot of people are not comfortable with talking about. You want to know why? For the simple fact that a lot of people have small minds, they really have just a conventional way of thinking about everything. In other words, the best way to describe it as an NPC in a video game. So therefore, the majority of people are just not going to get behind anything that Ryan Garcia says. And as a result of that, become even more uncomfortable with just the things that he spews on top of his behavior that is really staged, which there is no better way to explain it. Now, could you say that he's been going through certain things in his life, saying that he had gone through a divorce, saying that he had gone through just different changes in his life, and as a result of that, sort of fallen into depression? But at the same time, you got to understand, if you're going to act a certain way, in reality, in the scope of reality, which again is very questionable in the world of combat sports promotion, but in the realm of reality, you can't take back certain actions and certain things that Ryan Garcia says. And as a result, guess what? The majority of people are really going to have a serious problem with him winning because it doesn't fit the narrative of the reality. Who here has seen The Last Action Hero, a 1990s flick with Arnold Schwarzenegger? Let me give you a little synopsis on the whole entire story. So, a boy from New York who is a movie buff, in particular, a movie buff for action movies involving Arnold Schwarzenegger, picks up this golden ticket in a theater in which he befriends an old man, and as a result, he uses this ticket, which, by the way, opens a different realm of a universe into the movie world, and then all of a sudden, as he's watching a movie, this golden ticket starts acting up. Next thing you know, he's on the set of The Last Action Hero, Jack Slater. Okay, and then he's immersed into this world of LA, which is a fictional world, but a movie world that he's experiencing. And then he all of a sudden invites back the bad guys along with Arnold Schwarzenegger into the real world of New York. And why I'm mentioning this is because there's one scene that I think it was really particular that I think you really should take a look at. When the bad guy, okay, the redheaded British bad guy that Jack Slater has been chasing his whole entire time, all of a sudden runs across him in the real world in New York because they infiltrated through that ticket and managed to get into that different realm of universe. So what happens? He starts shooting at Jack Slater and he says, in this world, Jack, the bad guys can win. And you know what? This is the reality that we are living in, is that the world is real and results are real, and results are not fairy tales that you would expect out of a Disney movie. And if you think otherwise, then keep paying attention, because if you want to relate this in real life, you look at people who have gotten away with murder. Okay, you could argue maybe OJ is in that case, although for me, I don't know. I don't know if I would fit that narrative, but hey, it's all plausible within that direction, right? He was acquitted in the criminal court system for murder, but at the same time, he was also charged and lost a civil case that also indicated he did murder someone and hence had to pay the families and the victims. But either way, that's your own debate. The reality is, there's a lot of people out there, aside from O.J. Simpson, and less controversial cases and unknown cases, where they get away with the most heinous acts in the world, and you name it. I don't have to name it. You know exactly some of the most heinous acts. For one, you could start in the school systems. For one, you can start in the church. For one, you can start in all these different sports programs and Boy Scout programs where certain abuses are prevalent. And as a result, uh, they get away with it. And unfortunately, that is the reality that you have to face. This is the reality that you have to face with Ryan Garcia. Now, obviously, we can't pinpoint Ryan Garcia into this, what do you call it, a comparison of criminality for these other people, but still, a lot of people rub him the wrong way. They find him cringy. They don't like the way that he behaves. They don't like the way that he didn't really prepare for this matchup and still won. But a lot of people have to understand sometimes that's just reality. You're not going to always have the good guy versus bad guy story. Now, are these matters in terms of good guy versus bad guy ending happen? Absolutely. Look at Khabib and Conor. That was a great example of that. It was like, wow, finally justice has been served. Colby Covington versus Usman, same thing, right? And the same thing with Jorge Masvidal and Colby Covington. Obviously, Colby Covington won that, but by the end of the day, Colby Covington was still the a-hole to the wider range of audience out there. So guess what? This is one thing you got to understand, man. Happy endings only happen in movies. And when they actually do happen in real life, like Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman, they're they're really great to witness because it's rare. And it should be rare. And the reality is it's always going to continue to be rare. Just like people who get away with certain charges that they know are not really real. And then sometimes there are people who actually deserve it and get away with it. That's just really what we're witnessing here, and I think it's rubbing a lot of people the wrong way. Don't forget to like and subscribe.